and you are going to listen. I am not unlovable. I am not worthless. Oh, don't give me that look. You know which one. It's the same one you gave me when
you spilled my Mai Tai in the Poconos. Or was it a green martini? You're always a little clumsy, kiddo.
Mother?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just...
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel for another episode recap of Daysofourlives for today, June 25th, 2024. A lot to unpack, folks, as you can see in those two clips before, especially with Leo and his mom. I know a lot of you can relate to just traumatic relationships with your parents, so you may need a tissue or two. It's going to be one of those episodes, right? So the first scene we see is Lucas and Kate, right? And Kate is just happy that Lucas is home and free. And, you know, Lucas is also thankful to Harris for everything. And, you know, Kate feels different because she felt like he could have, you know, done it a lot quicker. But Kate, just be grateful that your son is home, right? So Lucas said that he slept very well compared to being in prison, but he heard some tears next door. So Kate was saying that Ava was crying because she is heartbroken about Harris leaving and, you know, all of that sadness in yesterday's episode, right? So then Lucas also tells Kate that he's gonna be leaving. So she's surprised, like, leaving already? So he said, yeah, he's gonna go to Arizona to see Will and Ali and the kids. And he's even surprised that they're talking to him and, you know, considering everything he's done to their mom. So Kate is like, you know, Sammy's not innocent, and, you know, it was all Sammy's fault for putting you through this. But I'm saying Kate always does this with her kids, right? She never lets them be accountable. But then Lucas reminds her that, you know, it's not just her fault. Like, he is to blame for his actions. He didn't have to go there. Two wrongs don't make a right. So she's saying yes, and she blames herself for how she is with all her kids, you know, not with partners, but with all her kids. And she thinks she's the reason why Lucas and Philip are the way they are. So Lucas is saying, don't be too hard on yourself. I mean, you're overbearing, but you're loyal, and that's how you are as a mom. And, you know, they had a very good moment together, right? So the next scene we see is Chad and Julie, right? Chad and Julie, Julie is happy to see Chad because she didn't hear from him for a while, but Chad said that he heard that Clyde was in Supermax and he had to find a way to get to him. And then Jack walks in and said, why would you do that, right? Because he doesn't know what they're up to, right, regarding trying to see if Abigail is alive, right? So then Chad covers it up by saying that he went to Montana and tried to confront Clyde about what he did to Abigail, and he almost used the gun. We knew that Chad wasn't going to use a gun. Chad is not built like that, right? But yeah, he covered up really well. And then he said that Abigail wouldn't want him to off Clyde, right? So Jax agreed and said that, you know, it wouldn't be the right thing to do, and Abigail would want it, and then you also have kids to think about, right? So Jack also was staying over for an extra night, right, because he's gonna leave today to go back to Jennifer in Boston. The next scene we see Paulina and Abe, right? And they're reminiscing about Eli and Lonnie and the grandkids coming over, and the babies left a few items there. So she's sentimental about it, and she's like sad that all of her kids are going, you know, with Chanel and Johnny leaving, and the grandkids and her unborn grandkids. So she's feeling a little bit sad about it. And Abe said, you know, they'll be back, and also you'll be really busy because the recall is off, you know, because EJ already called out the petition because of their arrangement, right? He gets to be DA and the petition is called off. So what happens then is that she will get to be mayor again. Even though she didn't like how the article was titled, she was happy to be there, right? So Abe is happy about that as well. And Paulina says, but she just feels bad that she had to give EJ back the job. She really doesn't like EJ, but again, it's their arrangement, right? And then Abe is saying, what happened to Trask? Doesn't Trask want another job position? And Paulina said that she was going to offer a new job as head of sanitation, right? But, you know, Melinda just said to take that job and shove it. She was in her feelings obviously, of course, right? So then she needs somebody to fill that role. So Abe said, what about me? So of course Paulina was taken aback, because she's like, she doesn't want Abe to really work under her, and then she doesn't want people to think that it's nepotism, right? Considering they're married. But then Abe doesn't feel that way. He's pretty secure in his manhood. He just wants to work alongside her and get to see her often. So she is like, no, she wouldn't want it that way. And, he understands that would make her comfortable, right? So she said something will come up, right? So they leave it at that. And Abe said he's going to go to the pub and get some food for Chanel and the rest of them, right? And that's where we left off with the two of them. So we see Chanel and Johnny at another appointment. They're going to check on the baby and see what is happening. Of course, they have all these feelings about moving, and Johnny has some blanket from Marlena to put in a suitcase, and they're just excited about the new adventure, right? So we see Dr. Green come in, right? And he's there to inform them about what's happening with their baby, right? So he did say everything is fine. However, he saw some soft markers, like genetic markers, to say that there can be some kind of congenital abnormality. And Chanel is worried, they're worried. Chanel is saying, is it because of the radioactivity? And Dr. Green said that even though it's low, we can't really tell for sure. So he's referring her to a specialist in LA when she gets out there, right? So of course, they're kind of overwhelmed with all this information. And then Dr. Green says, this makes him think about his sister Felicity, who has Down syndrome, but he said that she has made all of their lives really special, and she's going to miss Chanel. So Chanel says she's going to reach out to her today. So we see Leo in the next scene. He has his paper ready to confront his mom and really tell her how he feels. No whole bars, just ready to really get it out the way, right? So he's rereading his script at this moment, right? What he's going to tell his mom. And I'm excited for this scene because we haven't seen these two together in a while. I think they work together in Young and Restless, right? I don't really watch Young and Restless, so you guys can tell me what that's about. But their relationship is really like mother and son, even though it's dysfunctional. So we see Miss Diana, Dirty Diana, come in. And she just reminisced about how he spilled a Mai Tai from her in the Poconos. And, she remembers how clumsy he used to be. So then they sit down and they get to it. And he just spills out everything that she has done to him and how she has affected his childhood, how it has been traumatic. And of course, she's not taking any responsibility. She's just saying that he needs to man up. And she's not really being accountable for nothing, right? She's just saying maybe that's what should happen to him, that he deserves it. So it was really triggering and traumatic to watch, especially if you, the viewer, have a traumatic relationship with your parent, then you could really relate to this episode, right? So that's why I say you may need tissues. I mean, not me personally, I don't have that kind of traumatic relationship, but viewers that are watching today's episode, it could be triggering. So that's something that I want to say for sure, right? So it was definitely an emotional one between the two of them. She took his script and ripped it up at some point, and he just felt like, why can't she love him? Why he's not worthy to be loved? I mean, why she couldn't see him for who he is, right? So he has a lot of insecurity, just a lot of abandonment issues, and I know a lot of people can relate to this part. So that's why I said it's somewhat therapeutic, triggering, a lot in this episode to unpack, right? So it ended with her saying just a waste of time, and why you really wasting time and money with this new age quack, as she called Marlena, right? So she thinks it's just a waste of time and he shouldn't even invest in it because, again, he is who he is and nothing is gonna change that. So she told him that she didn't really want to see him again, and it didn't really end well. I mean, as Leo thought it would be. It was really sad. I felt really bad for Leo, honestly. Leo was left emotional at the end. So the next scene we see where we left off with Jack, Julie, and Chad, right? So Jack is about to leave, right? But Julie said, wait, I gotta tell you something. So we thought that she was gonna say something about Abigail possibly being alive, right? Chad was also surprised, but then Julie gave him this capsule that she's been trying to open, and she gives it to Jack to see if, you know, Jennifer can open it, right? So Jack went on his merry way, and it leaves Chad and Julie to talk, and Chad is saying, you know, I thought you were gonna tell him. She said, no, she can't. It's too risky, right? She really wants to know if this is true, right? She doesn't want to give them the hopes up. So I really like the relationship between Julie and Chad, honestly. It's like a mother and son relationship, and I like how they're really invested in solving this, right? So I really hope that it gives all of us, the viewers, answers to see if Chad and Abigail Chabby is going to be reunited, right? So the next scene we see is Chanel and Johnny. They're in the square. They're finished their appointments. So, of course, she's kind of overwhelmed. She looks at her baker being unleashed now, and she's just overwhelmed with everything that's going to happen, the new changes, and whether or not she's going to be a good mother, and if this was the right decision. And she really just feeling a lot of emotions, hormonal, I think, right? So they're talking, and then we see Felicity come, right? Because she said she was going to meet Felicity. So Felicity appears, and, you know, she is looking at Chanel. Chanel is visibly sad. She's asking Chanel if she's okay, and Chanel said she's happy about the changes, but then she's sad about all the people and her business being left behind, right? So they talk about everything so far, and Felicity gives her this stuffed bear to just remember her by, right, and to give the new baby, right? So she said that the bear gave her comfort all this time, so she's hoping that it would do the baby the same. And Chanel's like, no, I don't really want to take it, you know, but she ends up taking it, and it was a really sweet gesture, and they hug, and she said, I hope you write me, right? And she said, yes, I will write to you. And they hug it out, and it was a really sweet moment, right? So we see where Felicity leaves, and Johnny and Chanel are talking, and she's feeling a little bit guilty because she, you know, she was happy to just, you know, go along with the pregnancy, and she didn't really think about how Johnny would feel and if what were Johnny's opinions on it. And he said he was scared at first, but he's on board with whatever Chanel wants to do, right? And he's saying that we will get through it together, don't worry about it so much. So they hug each other, and, you know, it was really sweet to see. The next scene we see Lucas come over, right? Because Julie heard a knock, and it was Lucas. So Lucas came in, and they embraced, and Lucas is here to tell everybody that he's free, and Chad hugged him, and Chad is excited, and he said that he will be leaving because he's going to see his kids and grandkids. So Julie said, I hope you don't stay long. I said, no, I just need to check in on them, right? So then Lucas sees the computer over there, and he's like, what is going on? So Chad said, don't tell Jennifer or Jack what's going on. Keep it to yourself. So I said, okay, what's happening? So he said, the flash drive may indicate that there's some evidence that Abigail may be alive, right? So Lucas took a look at it, and he's saying that, you know, Clyde could be possibly playing with your head. This may not be true, right? So that is where we left off with them. So we see Leo in the hospital, right? And he's looking for Marlena because of everything that he just went through at the prison with his mom. So he's just really anxious to see her, and he calls the secretary to see if she would take him, because she doesn't allow walk-ins, right? So the secretary said tomorrow would be a perfect time, but he said it's an emergency. So the secretary is asking him, are you gonna harm yourself? And he said no, he just had a meeting with his sociopathic mom. So the secretary said, no, can't help. So that is where he's sitting down, and he's like, he's recapping everything that happened. He says his mom doesn't really want to see him, and he's just saying I hope she burning her, but he don't want to say that because he still loves her and he wants to be loved and accepted. And that's where we see Dr. Green come over and ask him, is he alright? Because he started to break down. I really feel bad for Leah, honestly. So in the next scene, we see Abe coming in at the pub and he sees Kate. And he's saying that he needs to make an order because Chanel and Johnny are leaving. So Kate understands because Kate says Lucas is leaving, and she tells Abe what's happening with him, that he needs to go to Arizona to see his grandkids and kids. And, you know, she's also feeling sad about that all, and she can understand, right? So then they start talking about being in the mayor's office and how they used to work together one time. And then Kate just says that, you know, she just wants to be in a career right now because, you know, she feels lonely now. She's an empty nester, kids are gone. So she wants something fulfilling. So Abe is with her on that. Abe said, if you find any business, let me see what's happening, right? So then she puts in the order for Abe because, you know, she understands Chanel is pregnant. You can't really leave a pregnant hormonal girl hungry. So we go on. So we go on to the last scene of the episode where Johnny and Chanel is at Paulina's and they inform her about what's happening with the pregnancy and everything is going well. Although they didn't tell her about the possible congenital abnormalities that may happen, right? So Paulina said that Abe is off to get some food. So Chanel said that's why her stomach is growling because she's hungry, right? But then she starts to have some sharp stomach pain and she said, no, it's fine. You know, probably, you know, it's nothing. But then it started increasing more. So of course Johnny and Paulina are, you know, they're concerned. They don't know what's happening. So that's where it ended, folks. All right, so don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode recap. All right.